There we go. It's 4 o'clock. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for braving the elements on this stormy afternoon. We're going to call the meeting to order. And the first thing we want to mention is future meetings. The Redevelopment Authority will continue to meet on the third Wednesday of each month at 4 in council chambers. We did have an executive session June 11th, last Wednesday, to discuss real estate. No votes were taken. Public comment is next on the agenda. Do we have any members of the public that have an update for us? Dylan raised his hand first.
No.
Are you ceding your time to Josh Jeffy?
I'll be quick.
Yeah,
I do like to talk.
I've heard that before.
So I figured I'd come just give everybody an update with where we are since we have a couple of things in motion. So at Heritage Crossings, everybody's seen construction underway. We are proceeding with our next phase, design and engineering. So we submitted that lot consolidation plan to kind of clean up the remaining parcels and get ready for a formal submission. So I think that lot consolidation plan was through Planning Commission. It's before council. I think that first week in July, and then we'll probably come in for a project meeting and kind of revisit what our plans are for the next phases and talk about next steps maybe sometime in August, because we would like to submit for the future phases, this year still, for Heritage Crossing. So that's kind of where we are. Construction's going fine. We're on budget, a little bit behind schedule. The wettest May in recent memory, but we'll make it the time later. For the Broad Street, for Graybill site, I forwarded we finally got through all the negotiations and all the testing and everything else that we had to do with DEP to modify the Act 2 covenant for that site to permit residential. So our environmental attorney drafted all the necessary terminations, amendments, and all those things. We forwarded them on to you guys, and then I know the city, because that environmental covenant encompassed the neighboring parcel, which I think Public Works uses to store salt and everything else. So the city is going to review the environmental covenants, and we cleaned up everything for everybody. They just got to review it. It should be fine. Hopefully that'll get done in the next 30 days. And I know that we have the formal redevelopment agreement being circulated, I think in final draft form for ratification. And then once that's all done, we'll submit for land development for Graybill, and we'll get that started. And that'd be nice if we could start. I mean, and our goal there hasn't changed. We still want to build 125 units of attainable housing. I know, everybody wants to see, attainable or affordable rents, really low. I mean, I still think the best that we're going to be able to do is going to be, $1,000 to $1,100 a month, all in for a new 1-bedroom, and they're going to be smaller. But it's going to be significantly less. I mean, it's going to be about 20% less than what we're going to be charging at Heritage Crossings, and I think it'll help alleviate at least some of the housing pressure for move-up buyers who maybe can afford that and are living in conditions that they would rather improve and and pay a little bit more money. So we still think that's a good project, and we're on track. I was hoping this would go quicker with DEP, but they're not known for their speed. But that's kind of where we are with the two projects, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So you just discussed Graybill last. So that's at the intersection of East Philadelphia and Broad?
Yeah. It's a little bit north. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And 125 units you're proposing there?
Yep.
How many beds, how many baths?
I think it's actually like 50-50 between 2 bedrooms. It'll be 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. So they're not going to be 2 bedroom, 2 bath. It'll be 2 bedroom, 1 bath, and then 1 bedroom, 1 bath. And I think the unit mix is actually pretty evenly split.
So no 3 bedrooms.
No 3 bedrooms.
Okay.
I mean, in these urban environments where you have lots of other potential housing stock that could be revitalized, we generally don't want to compete with it. We think our construction dollars for new construction is more efficient doing stacked flats. And if some of those row houses that just gives them better life to be remodeled later, you know? But there's always competing schools of thought, but that's how we do. That's our intention. That's how we think.
So also for those of you who are not frequent attendees at city RDA meetings, Heritage Crossings is also known as the Northwest Triangle. So your reverse subdivision consolidation of the remaining lots there is to do all of the remaining phases in one phase?
I don't know whether it's all going to be in one phase or not, but it cleans up. So we have if on the proposed, so we'll have 3 new lots. The one lot is actually probably going to be deeded back to the city because it has some utility infrastructure in it, and it's like 1,000 square feet or 1,500 square feet. And then the other lot is just that standalone parking lot in between the Pershing and the railroad tracks, and then the rest of it's all just consolidated into one lot. That was previously they had a parcel that wrapped around the river. They had the old fee simple lot that was the Pershing Street extension, and they had like 2 other remainder parcels. So, we just simplified it.
So the remaining buildings will be on one lot?
Yeah.
How many buildings?
Or we'll do like a condo plan most likely.
Okay.
So, because it'll probably be one lot, and if we're gonna phase it, we'll just do it with like a condominium plan rather than do anything fee simple. It'd be easier. And especially if we're gonna, depending on what we do, if there's gonna be another developer doing something fancy, it's easier to have like a master condo association. Like if we're gonna build a hotel or something, we're not usually hospitality guys. You can have the control for the site under a condominium association. It's easier to maintain because it'll all be private. Improvements. So.
Josh, what was on the Graybill property that was the interested DEP years ago? What was it?
Oh, it was all, I forget what the previous use was there, but the city had environmentally remediated that when they took it, and they did everything right. They just didn't add in, when they did their recordation of the covenants to allow development, they just omitted the word residential. So it actually met all the thresholds. So in a perfect world, they would have just said, oh yeah, here's all the old data, and they could have just amended it in 30 days. But that's not the way DEP works. You have to go do 2 new rounds of testing, confirm the data that's 10 years old, and go through the whole process again just to add the one word in. So the city, everybody remediated everything, and they did everything correctly. We just had to fix the paperwork, which takes a year.
Jeez, okay.
That's why there's no housing. Everything's hard. So.
For Heritage Crossings, how many retail spaces will be on the first floor?
So how many, so it's gonna be about 20,000 square feet. How many spaces that winds up being, it's gonna depend on how our outreach goes with, prospective tenants.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we could have a restaurant that wants, 8,000 square feet, or maybe they want 4,000 square feet, which would give us an extra space for something else.
Mm-hmm. Would you go smaller than 4,000 square feet?
Yeah, well, we would do smaller than 4,000 square feet.
And are there any incentives to get tenants in?
So we're not publicly sharing any of that information yet. The reality is we want to make this work for everybody. So there's going to be some flexibility from us in terms of, how much of your fit out we can provide. Can we provide grant help? Can we waive rent? I can tell you that in our financial model, we left a lot of room for failure so that we can cultivate, the right vision there. I know Downtown Inc. has been doing a lot of good things to help inspire interest in downtown, and everybody works well together. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how this goes. I think we might actually get our website up in the next couple of weeks too, and start actively shopping for commercial tenants. We think we'll be ready to open for the first residential users in about a year, and that would be the commercial users as well. I know that for our office, we're going to open a little branch of our office downtown. I think we're in North York Borough now, but everybody would much rather be downtown. So we'll take a couple thousand square feet for ourselves.
On the first floor of that building?
Yeah, on the first floor, in line. You know, so like not at the end. The ends we're going to reserve for better uses, and then we'll see. I mean, we're still having the debate internally whether or not how much and what type of amenity space we're going to provide for our residents. So, you know, like on the portion of the building that goes back along Gay Street, you know, we have like a room for, you know, pet grooming and washing. We have some bike storage. We have some general storage. There's some other things there, but you know, like there's not a gym on the premises right now. You know, is that something that our tenants are going to want that could also double as a public use if we can get a franchise of Anytime Fitness? You know, we're not sure. Maybe people just should go and, you know, jog down to the YMCA or the YWCA. You know, there are other community resources, so, you know, we're not sure yet.
Okay, thank you.
So, any other questions?
Hearing no other questions for Josh. Do any members of the public have questions for Josh?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer public questions too.
Hearing none, do we have any comments from any other members of the public regarding different topics?
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, Josh. Sorry, he raised his hand a second before you. You can be next.
For the record, that was his quick version. Dylan Bauer, resident business owner in New York City. I have a couple things I wanted to bring up. The agendas, I brought it up before. I don't know when they come out. I'd like to know if they come out regularly. I think it's in your bylaws that they come out at a certain time. Nate from my office looks for them every time. We have to wait till like the day of. I found it today. Found some stuff on here that caught my eye, which is why I wanted to speak up. Also, there's no minutes since February. So any reference of previous meetings, the last time minutes have been posted was February.
Yeah, that's on me. I can't put the minutes up until they're approved, but I owe March, and I'll be able to put May's up tomorrow. So there wasn't an April meeting.
Okay.
So they're missing one.
The reason I'm glad I looked for it, I've been coming to these meetings for a long time. I found it alarming that 16 parcels for 9 buildings going into one developer in one swoop just seemed like the biggest I've ever seen in York. I kind of like to know the qualifications of the developer, especially the property at Princess and Newberry near my house. I recognize that in the days ago, the property list used to say singles for buildings, then you had land, then they had even highest and best. I think that's how it used to be consolidated. So there was a time where you could look through the list and you could see what was the suggested collections, and now it's just one master list. So when I look at the corner of, I think it's number B, 147 through 157, to me, that is like one of the highest and best sites in York, and I recognize the RDA is always in search for funds. This to me seems like a site that, I know some local site engineers that would donate time. I know local architects that would donate time. I know local housing authorities that would build great quality product. And from what I've seen of I looked up the person that's doing it, I saw what they did before, fine product, but I don't think it's suited for that area. Maybe they have different intentions, but really I think a realtor would be helpful. Get some site plans, get some architectural plans, put a sign out there. For Newton Square, one of we don't have very many higher end or nicer neighborhoods in the city. I really think that's an opportunity that the RDA is missing. We should be putting an RFP for developers. Let's make this the best opportunity that we can make it. So it just struck me kind of odd that they came out last minute and there's several motions and so 16 parcels. But yeah, that's the end of it for me. I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you. All good comments. Hopefully we'll get the minutes posted online.
Typically, the agendas are put up on Monday. Occasionally, they're put up the Tuesday before. But they're by law, they're 24 hours before the meeting. But I usually try to do Friday or Monday. But
Thanks, Mike.
yeah.
All right.
Linda, do we still have a relationship with the realtor?
Yes and no. I mean, he's brought us 1 or 2 people, but he hasn't listed the properties on multi-list like we had hoped they go out there.
Okay.
So I would say no.
Okay.
Sounds like a good idea. Obviously tonight we're missing our normal chair, Mike Black. We're also missing another board member, Melissa. So we've got 3, just enough for a quorum.
Nate.
Okay, yes, third public comment.
All right, so you're gonna have to excuse me. I never really been in a room with people like that, but my name is Nathaniel Jameson. I'm the owner of the breakfast store located in Penn Market. I actually run 2 businesses in Penn Market right now. One being V&K's. It's my mother's business, and I'm just coming in regards to just some things that are going on in Penn Market that just need eyeballs on them, and just to make it a better place and things like that. There's things going inside the market that I feel like need change, you know, and it'll help people come down to the market because the market is dying. I feel like, in my opinion, like you have vendors that are there and like they're paying rent, but they don't show up. You know what I mean? So you got to think like that plays into a dead market. You don't have as much as the community coming out to support all these other businesses as they would with a packed market. You understand me? Right. So it's things like that. We also do not have a dumpster on our property at all. I've brought this up plenty of times before. I don't know why we don't have a dumpster at all. Like trash is something that you got to think is coming from every stand that is going to be paying rent in that market. You understand me? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, where's the trash going? The trash is just sitting around the market. You know, like I brought it to the RDA's attention before, and I've got. I'm not going to say like, they told me that we can't have a dumpster out there because they don't want people doing things behind it, you know what I mean? And I just feel like it's just excuses because if we had a gate behind it, you know, we have people on the premises that will watch the parking lot attendant, you know, at all times. And I don't think the capacity is a problem at all with the market and the parking lot with dumpster and things like that, because it was also a problem with that. They said the capacity, it has to be filled for max capacity. The parking lot spaces, you know, in the market have to be there just in case market hits max capacity. But in today's society, you're not seeing that market hit max capacity based on the people sitting outside. We need loitering signs up outside of the market saying that people cannot sit there like more than 5 to 10 minutes, you know what I mean? Because that plays into people driving down the block and seeing people just sitting there. And, you know, I'm not trying to be rude, but it's not like they're in suits and ties and, you know, everything like that. Like, drive past Penn Market and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. They don't.
So why are these problems not being addressed? You know what I mean? Like, it's because we never brought it to your attention. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at you guys at all. You know, it's our problem because we're not saying anything. There's no voice for Penn Market.
Well, Brittany's the manager. Have you spoken to her about any of these issues?
The reason I'm here is because like I'll try to talk to Brittany, and then Brittany will bring it up to the RDA, and then like it's just getting lost. You know what I mean? Like it's a text message or email. You know what I mean? Like we need these solutions now. Because you're going to lose all those vendors in that market and you're not going to be getting paid rent there at all. Where are the renovations at? Like that, I don't know how long y'all been planning on. I've been there for 2 years and I've been hearing about renovations and hearing that you guys had money to renovate that place for a long time. And it's crazy that like I see this right here, all these buildings and these infrastructures and you know these communities that you want to build and things like that in this community. For people to attend and go to and, you know, be a family at. And I feel like Penn Market is the perfect place for that because it's been around for 100 years. You know what I mean? So,
well, we agree with you, and we have some money to renovate it. We do not have all of the money we need to renovate it.
So if you don't have all the money, I feel like you need to start allocating those dollars in the places where you can help Penn Market. And when you open those doors in the market, it's 100 degrees in there. Walk in there and buy a sandwich, you're going to want to get out.
We understand what you're saying and we agree with you, but it's not as easy as you make it sound. We don't have money sitting in a bank account that we're just allowed to use and start renovations. We have architectural plans, we have engineers.
Yeah.
It's a very expensive project. A lot of our grant sources require matches. No one would love for it to have started already more so than us.
Right.
The economic reality is big, complicated projects like this take years. The project that Mr. Jeffrey was just talking about, maybe 20 years from the first moment the city started acquiring parcels in that area to put
But
it
why?
together.
But why let it die? You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
it's dying. I work in there every day. It's
The York
dying.
City Redevelopment Authority acquired the property to stop it from dying.
And it's dying. Like, what I'm telling you, I'm being here right now as a vendor to tell you that we need an air conditioner in there, AC. You need to put a fan in there, some ventilation or something in there. Customers do not like coming in there. There was 2 people that passed out last year, customers, from being in there. That is a health risk, bro. Like, it's a climate control issue. You understand me? Like, you're not gonna want to be in there. So y'all are basing these numbers off of the people that are walking in that market. You're not basing your numbers off of the people that are gonna walk in that market, stay in there, go to this stand, and that stand. Do you
Nate, are you
understand me?
talking about
So-
the Silas article with the
Yeah,
numbers?
exactly. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
Silas
okay.
Chamberlain. He posted an article. But I'm saying, like, he based those numbers off of how many people step in that door. He did not. Those numbers weren't even accurate, mind you, because that many people don't even walk through Penn Market. And
I'm sorry, I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
This is the report that Silas did for the Dispatch or the YDR about placer
look
data.
into it a little bit, you know. But I'm sorry. I'm just trying to bring these issues to your attention because it's important. Penn Market is important. That's a historic place. It's been there for 100 years. Let's make it better. What are we doing to help it? We need to help it.
Well, I
Like,
think,
it's
I think
dying.
we appreciate your passion. We all agree with you. We're working on it. It's not as simple as you think.
Get an air conditioner.
Has Brittany, well,
telling you,
if
get an
you
air
have some, well,
I actually,
I don't even care about it.
you
I don't
can't
even care
do
about the
development
dumpster.
projects piecemeal. You do the whole,
$3,000 a year to dump my trash. Get an air conditioner, bro. Like, it don't cost
What
that
do you
much to get
do,
an AC.
what do the market tenants do for
have-
trash? What's the
We gotta-
Take it home.
Bro, I ruined my
I got
$30,000
it.
car by taking trash with me to my house, and there's literally trash sitting in my backyard. I get fines from West York Police
you have to
Department
take
all
it
the
home.
time for
Take it
trash
home
being in my backyard. I'm not getting reimbursed for that. You know what I mean? That eats into my pockets. That eats into my profit. Like,
rent per month?
rent is, I don't even know, bro. They say it's by square foot, but like, it's,
How much do you pay per month in rent for your booth?
I don't want to disclose that.
Yeah,
I'm not disclosing that right now.
A couple comments that I have. Some of the things you said you talked to Brittany about and spoke to us. I'm not aware of some of those conversations.
yeah, I can certainly address a lot of this. Starting with the starting with the update on the design. We are literally, I just got on the 29th of May, I got the whole front end specs for the go out to bid. It's 342 pages of specifications of everything that every contractor who wants to bid the job will have to look at. We are at 99% drawings, and I just got an email this morning from the architect. She has to take everything in front of Harb for historic approval because it's a historic building, and that should happen in the next month, and then council has to approve that, and that will be probably July or August, and so it will be September that this thing will finally, and I know I keep saying we're at 90%, but finally in September, we'll be out in the street to get bids for construction work. There's going to be 4 contracts. There's going to be electrical, there's going to be plumbing, there's going to be HVAC, and there's going to be a general contractor.
Yes, it needs all of it. It needs all of it. There's exposed electrical cords in there. Like, it's crazy.
But let me,
It'll take months and months.
Well, why months and months? Like, what is why risk somebody walking in there and putting their hand on an exposed electrical cord and shocking themselves? That is come on, it's a health risk. Like, look into Penn Market, bro. I'm trying to tell you right now. Like,
So
look into
if
it.
there are things that what it sounds like you're saying is a hazard potentially.
absolutely, that hazards, as soon as we know about it. I mean, there was someone living in the front corner store, running a propane stove with, the whole.
Needs to be addressed.
Excel reached out to me and said that the market smelled like gas, and it's because the people in the front corner store were using a propane burner. I mean, those things we are dealing with right away. And we've just recently found out, in fact, 2 days ago, they have a mini split air conditioning system in that front corner store, and their exhaust units are sitting on the roof inside Market, which is only helping to heat it up. So we shut those down and turned them off. So as we learn things, we're dealing with them and fixing them. There are a lot of things that are vendor related, that like extension cords and things like that we deal with, obviously, right away. The dumpster, we talked about the dumpster issue, and I'm still waiting for Republic to get back to us on that, because they're supposed to be picking up one 55-gallon toter, which is, one cart, and it ends up just some cardboard out front from the store, and that's all they pick up. So we have the ability we pay $340 a month for trash removal, and then people take their trash home, which I don't think makes any sense whatsoever. But that was from a previous manager And your lease clearly says you have to take your trash home. Some people don't generate any trash. You are a different animal because of that.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're certainly able to get your own trash service there as well. We would just have to coordinate it. We talked about a dumpster, and the problem, even talking to Life Path across the street, any business that has a dumpster, one of the biggest problems is people throwing mattresses next to it, or people dumping other stuff in it. And if it's overfilled, and talk to Pat Ball at Life Path, they get a $1,200 charge every time that lid is not flat shut.
Bland, I was thinking the exact same thing.
So we just have to be careful. Someone's gonna have to step up and police the dumpster.
Right, and it's.
And all of that.
To dump things in that dumpster.
Sure.
More than just the 3
Put a
days.
camera
So-
outside. I'm gonna give you a solution. Put a
Post-renovation,
camera
what we
outside.
would-
Put a gate around the dumpster. Boom.
So
You got it.
post-renovation, that's what we would
Let's go.
likely do if we have, and we'll have a trash room post-renovation too. So that will make a huge difference.
At least can we put our
just-
trash like outside on Market Street? You're already paying for the trash, you know, like.
And that's what I'm trying to coordinate with
Can we do
pickup
that?
day on when Republic says their pickup day is supposed to be like Monday and Thursday, which does no good when we're open Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Picking up the day, 3 days later, that's just gonna sit there and fester, and you'll get a citation
But it's
for
already
not
sitting
putting
there
it out in
festering
time.
in the
So-
market. That's
There
what
are-
I'm trying to say. It's already in the market festering. Like, some people, what you understand is not all the markets is ruining their $30,000 car to take this trash to home. Like,
Right, every lease says that you're responsible for taking your trash out when you signed the lease, when you moved in. So, I mean,
Right, but I mean.
try to work out a solution.
It's crazy.
Brittany, it doesn't make sense. That being said, Brittany has not addressed any of these issues.
Yeah, she'll bring things to
that's
me
why I'm here.
occasionally,
That's
but
why I'm here. Listen, I don't.
Yes, not, sorry, yes.
I'm not gonna say I
Yes,
don't care
yeah, no,
about
not
all that,
Okay.
but I try my best to not step over Brittany's toes. You understand me? But there's things in there that I'm not finna text in a text message. I want you to hear it yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, I'm not finna sit here and play around. Like, we need this done now. Like, Penn Market is important. Like, for real.
yeah, and you can approach me at any time. You and I've messaged a couple of
tried.
times, but
we
yeah.
did. And you're understanding. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
right.
My bad. I might seem a little flustered right now, but it's just because it's all bought up.
You're
You know what I
seeing
mean?
passion.
Like,
course.
it's all bought up, and like, I'm finally here, and I'm like,
Understandable.
and I'm not taking no excuses. I'm not. Like, I understand. Look, I understand it's gonna take years to develop this and that and that. At least give us an air conditioner for. I'm not telling you to spend the trillions of dollars on a renovation and flip it. Like, put the air conditioner in there so people feel comfortable to come in there and spend their money in there and be there. Like, make it a community. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
The future plans, there's not going to be air conditioning
to be
in the future
ventilation
plans.
then.
There's gonna
Like,
be,
put some
there's gonna be
fans up
big ass
top.
fans that are gonna be put in. So there will be ceiling fans put in to circulate the air, and there will be air return units in the hoods. So that will help. It's not gonna be air conditioned, but it will
Thank
be,
you. As long
because
as-
air conditioning was $600,000, and that was not gonna happen. So,
Okay,
Yes.
so it just sounds like we have just a lack of communication.
yeah, there is a
Like,
vendor rep.
everything you're saying, Bland is echoing, we're echoing, we hear you.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, I love that I'm proud of you for
Yeah.
being here and standing here and saying all of it, because I know you're not alone and it takes a lot to get up here and talk about it. But I think there needs to be increased communication on our end and on Brittany's end. Even if it's just, I mean, you cannot overly communicate with vendors. If they don't know, they're going to piece it together. And I would be pissed if I were you too, not knowing, and it's 110 degrees in there and, you're not making sales because of it. So if we could just do like, even if it's just a sit down to talk to the vendors and let them know what's going on. I mean, just the understanding of what's happening with the construction is confusing to me. And I think the more we can overly communicate it would be ideal. Even if it's just any tiny little development that we get, shoot it to the vendors, email it to the vendors, let them know what's going on.
Yeah, there
What
is
about like the guy that's camping out? Like, hey, we're working on it. We're working on it.
And we are working on that too, with the Rabbit Transit and the bus stop and
bus
Life Path.
stop,
We've been in a group email and the police, trying to get people from loitering. So that is working behind the scenes.
Yeah,
There is a vendor's
It
rep.
definitely is, but we got to get it to.
Well, you gotta
point
know
where
about
they
it,
gonna feel
too.
comfortable to sleep in there.
Right.
Like,
Agreed.
you're not going to Central Market and seeing that
No.
Should maybe,
half the time.
Should maybe,
like, half the time. Like,
Brittany
not
have,
as much as Penn Market. Like,
should maybe Brittany have a standing section on the agenda every month to report on market news?
yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
More promotion in Penn Market. We need more eyes on Penn Market. We need more marketing for Penn Market. We need Penn Market to be involved in the community. It is a staple. 100 years. Keep
And
it
Nate,
going.
from, just to fill everyone in, from downtown Inkside, Nate, you and I are meeting next week. I can fill you in on our marketing plan for Penn Market. We can talk about that further. Happy to do that with Brittany too, but just from our end, it is in the works. You all right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's my first time doing this.
No, I'm glad.
Great.
I'm good.
But nobody's skin, I understand
great.
it's hard, you're stressful. You gotta put these dollars in places where it really matters. Like, I understand that, and that's why I'm here, because Penn Market matters.
We all
Thank you.
agree. John, wait, before you leave, I think,
This is just a general question. I'm a little ignorant of Penn Market. So the RDA owns Penn Market. What kind of governance structure is in place, that communicates like, hey, this is their strategic plan for Penn Market? Like, is that developed in concert with vendors? Is there like a little ad hoc, governance committee that's made up of, let's say, somebody from Downtown Inc., the RDA, vendors, a lot of these markets, find success over time if they have some kind of, even if it's an informal governance structure, it helps communication, it helps long-term vision, and, it can make your job easier too, because, you get community input and you can do like some longer-term thinking. It eases communication.
Networking.
Because I know Downtown Inc. has thoughts about all the markets and everything else, and I just didn't know, how, like if this is all Port Blanda's job every day, and with everything else, it might be helpful to have, a more formalized governance structure that can help, take this into the future.
Yeah, I would love that. We did have a Penn Market committee that we started probably 2 years ago, and people just stopped coming. They just fell off.
That's the problem. Like, in Penn Market, the vendors are not even there. Like,
Right.
I don't know if y'all missed that or not, or if I was speaking, because I was going so fast and, going to the top. But, like, you got to think of how much that plays into a dead market. You probably got 16 vendors in there. There's 4 open on a day.
well, and even Central Market has similar issues. Saturday it's full, Thursday it's half full, Tuesday not as many vendors.
There has to be, we got to go over the lease and put some stipulation in there for that, because that plays into that dead market and nobody being in there.
A lot of shopping
you,
centers have similar clauses in their leases saying people have to be there. The problem, and I can tell you this from being involved with Central Market, is you're going to lose a lot of vendors. A lot of vendors just, they don't want to be there.
Then the ones that really
all
want to
3
be there and
days.
are passionate about it will be there. I'm telling you, like.
Nate, how many days a week are you there?
I'm there 3 right now, but sometimes I do curbside pickup because I have to make my rent. It's so dead in there. I can't make my rent on a good day. I got $4,000 in bills every month. Like, I really have to make money, so I'm not doing that in a dead market, and that's why I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm open to the committee. I think we're all doing work separately on the same thing, like the rapid transit bus stop. Like, we have been working on that. So just to know that there are other people working on that, so we're not all doing the same thing and being more efficient. I think we can revisit that committee.
It goes a long way.
And I can, while we're on the topic, if you don't mind, I can give a funding update as well. We did receive $1.5 million in a state grant called a RACP grant. That requires match, and it's reimbursed. So we don't get that money. It's not like sitting in a bank account. We have to spend $3 million to get 1.5 back. So that's still pending, and that's still out there, but it's not money in the bank. The city, through the sale of the wastewater treatment plant, the city council gave us $325,000 towards the project, and another $750 from the ARPA money towards the project. And then with the building value itself that the state allows us to use as part of that match, we were able to come up with $3 million so it's a $3 million total project. So far, the RDA itself and design fees has paid $280,000 out of its own funding. So we're at about a $3.3 million project. But the estimate so far, we've had a contractor look at it, we have the architect look at it, and the construction costs are about $5.8 million. So we've got it down to maybe about 5.6. So the last year, I've been working with the architect to make shorter runs on pipes or delete sinks that we don't really need, and try to what we call value engineering and reduce the cost of everything. We've also, in the design, we've broken out, I think we have 7 different alternates. So when a bidder places a bid on a project, they'll bid this, but then we say, okay, we also want a separate price on this and this and this, so that we can check things off if we can't afford it. quite frankly. So we won't know the total actual cost until we get bids, actual prices. But we are expecting to have about a $3 million shortfall. So I have identified additional state funding of about 1.8 million. And we just got a grant from the state for another 50,000, which is good. That helps with design work. But we're going to need to raise probably about a $1.5 million from the community or from a bank or from something, or maybe historic tax credits. So we've been like over the last year, this is what I've been doing, is trying to muddle together all these funds and reduce the cost of the bid. So I'm excited. I know it's been forever, but we go out to bid in September and we start getting numbers and we can really start to firm up stuff. But we're trying to make you have to design it all first and then work backwards from what you can't, just in case it comes in at a cheaper price. So we're getting there, and I know I've been saying that for a long time, but we do have a shortfall and we're trying to
I definitely understand, but going back to what he said, I think it's just like a lack of everybody coming together. You
Agreed.
understand me? So like, I feel like if you took what I said today from this meeting, if I don't know, can I watch this anywhere?
Yeah, it's live on, just streaming on YouTube.
Like if I leave, I can watch over it?
Yep.
All right, cool. So I just feel like if it was more network, you can run fundraisers in Penn Market, you understand, to raise those dollars. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure every vendor in there will help come together to help, make it a better place. We're not stagnant. It's like it's not just me. Like I understand I'm the only one here right now, but like everybody feels this way in the market. And I feel like we can do more about it. Like if we just came and talked about it. So I'm
1000% agree.
I'm down with whatever. Like if we can run a fundraiser or do, make some money out of thin air like that, like we can do it. Let's go. You feel? Work with other businesses to, match, donations and stuff like that. Let's run it.
Agreed.
Well, thank you for all your thoughts and comments. I think we're going to connect with Brittany and see if we can get a committee put back together, and maybe she can more clearly delineate the priority of issues there.
There is a vendor, one of the vendors had agreed a year or two ago to step up and be the vendor representative to bring concerns to us and set up meetings and regular meetings and things like that. But that kind of fell away to that vendor. And I won't say it now who it is, but I'll tell you later.
I feel like that's what you got a Penn Market manager for, but I feel like it falls short even there. You know what I mean? You can't
Might
rely.
have just met your new vendor rep.
You can't rely on Brittany. I'm telling you. I'm not saying that she's not reliable, but you can't rely on just that one person to speak for everybody. Like.
Well, and that was the goal of that vendor rep, is to have somebody who people can come to me or come to the RDA without going, if they're having challenges with Brittany, then.
But it's only going to be said in her way. It's
Right.
not going to be said how I feel it. Like y'all felt this today. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make you feel it. Like we're gonna have to change this.
Well,
But thank you.
can't act on certain things immediately as you would like trying to make the airflow better. We can act immediately on things like trying to get the trash pickup improved and the loitering around the bus stop. So let's prioritize the issues we can try to assist on now, and let's more clearly communicate our ongoing efforts on the capital project.
Yes, sir. As long as we're working on it and making an effort to work on it, and I see that, then we're good.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Stephanie,
Nate.
thank you.
Thanks, Nate.
Okay, any other public comment? Hearing none. We have disseminated the meeting minutes from May 21, 2025. Hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to glance at them. Are there any comments or suggested revisions to the May 21 minutes? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to approve the May 21 minutes.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
Right. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Seeing no nays, the motion unanimously passes. Next on the agenda is the financial report.
Your cash position statement, as typical, is in your packet. Not a lot of changes from last month. We're at the point now, moving forward, we should start to see some cash improvement because we won't be paying the high gas bills at Penn Market. Those run about $4,500 a month in the winter. So having that, we'll see some recapture. You'll see at the bottom of the accounts receivable, I've added an ISRP reimbursement amount of $63,000. That's money, only 75% of that comes back to us. The rest will go to, it's actually a reimbursement to CAM. So I'm sorry, we get 25% of that for environmental services at Dentsply, work that's been happening there. So not a big change. We are in our fresh food revolving loan fund, which I always like to mention that there is a pot of money for food businesses, take out loans. That is almost back up to $100,000 just on the interest that's sitting there. And that money is used as a backstop or collateral for a food business. So they can borrow, I think, up to $50,000. And most small food businesses don't have collateral. So this serves as that collateral. If they default, it's taken away from those funds. So it's a great program. The city and the RDA does a horrible job of promoting it, but there are a lot of real estate brokers that are aware that that exists out there. But just FYI, there's some loan funds, not a grant, it's a loan. And that's been, with the COVID money and all the grants that are out there, there has been very little interest in the fresh food fund. I had, think, 3 inquiries in the last 6 months about it, but no one actually applied for it. But that's and the CDBG balances are about $341,000, and that's money from 23 and 24 that's left over, which we use for lawn mowing and property maintenance and things like that.
Do we have a deadline as to when we need to use that by?
No, but the sooner the better. That's why the city did not award us any CDBG money this year, because we got to spend that down first. That's it.
Any questions for Belinda regarding the financial report? All right, well, the agenda tells me that we have no presentations, so we can go right into the action items. The first action item is a redevelopment agreement. We're considering a motion to enter into an agreement with Vaughn Rimmel for the purchase and redevelopment of 534 North Beaver Street for construction for sale of a two-story single-family home. The sale would be for $2,500. More information we need?
I will show you here on the map on the screen where this lot is. It is a corner grassy lot right at the corner of Lincoln and Beaver. Actually, is not, we call it 534 North Beaver, but it really doesn't have a parcel ID. It's actually called N North Beaver WS Street. We have no idea if there even was ever a house built on this property.
It's the portion of North Beaver that is well north of the Corrs.
Correct. It is right
to the Jefferson School.
It's right by the housing authorities properties, and I can give you a street view here. It is this lot on the corner. It has a gentle slope here, and it's a very long lot. It's got some trees on it. Mr. Reimel has, of course, he would need to remove probably 2, maybe 3 trees to make the lot buildable. We are unsure about where utilities, or if there were any utilities ever connected to it. And I think that kind of shows the request for the reduced price, because this is going to take a little bit of effort getting electric, or not electric, but mostly water and sewer connection to the property, because we're not sure that we could find any connections.
There are no connections to the property.
Have you verified that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have American Water out, and there is no connections to the property.
Who are you?
Vaughn, you can come up and talk a little bit more if you want.
Is this Mr. Vaughn Rimmel?
Yes.
I don't think you have one of these packets.
No.
Do you want anything to look at?
I'm good, thank you.
I know you just had.
Actually, wait, yeah, can I have one? Yeah, you printed that amount. Thank you.
Yeah. That's big enough to put a house on?
Yes. Glenda, if you take and go down, I believe it's Lincoln Street right here, just past the stop sign, right about where you're, stop. Go back up. Anyway, about halfway up, American Water said they, about in that area is where they say that they can bring a sewer lateral into the property.
Okay.
There is none there now. And the same way as in the front of the property, there is no water that comes to the property, no main. Now, the water company did say that they can supply it, you know, but there's none there now.
And your proposed house is 1,200 square feet?
Yes, right around 1,200 square feet.
Two-story with a front porch?
Correct.
And is this the same, I know, project committee, you had a couple different housing model types. Was this the same type as you recently constructed and sold at Cottage Place?
No, well, it's similar, except that, here, I can give you.
It's two-story.
I don't have that electronically, so I can't pull it up.
Can't pull up
Here,
the
but-
photo of the existing
Yeah,
building?
this was two-story.
Yeah.
No, it's different.
Are there no side setbacks in this part of the city?
The only setback that we have to have is a 10-foot setback from that property side, from the existing property. And that's per fire code.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Rimmel? Lane, did you have anything to add?
No, I mean, we've had good success with the properties on Cottage Hill that he built, smaller homes. It took him about 5 months to build them, put them on the market and sold them the next day. High quality, I walked through them, Mike Black and I both walked through them. They're nice square framing, inexpensive homes, which is a good goal of ours, is to get some homeowners. This is a 2-story with 3-bedroom?
Yes.
3-bedroom home, brand new. Again, not huge, but 1,200 square feet, I think is right sized. And this is a good location. It's
What we're trying to build is something there that, you know, a first-time homeowner can get into without too much of a problem to do it.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Rimmel? Are you ready for a motion?
I make a motion, so, do I have to read this? To enter agreement with Von Rimmel for the purchase and redevelopment of 534 North Beaver for the construction of a for-sale 2-story single home for $2,500.
I'll second.
Any further comments? Hearing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, the motion unanimously passes. So now let's go to the next action item, which is also Mr. Rimmel. And this is 5 parcels at 147, 151, 153, 155, and 157 South Newberry Street.
similar proposal, except I think his idea, John, and I'll let you talk, I don't want to talk for you, but I think your idea was to build 4 homes here, two doubles, 2-story side-by-side, brick fronts, shiplap siding, wood siding, or hardy board siding. A concern on this one is what the parking allows for because of the previous development of logos. I have not yet been able to determine if this is a permanent easement or a use of where the logos parking lot comes on the back of the lots. With that, then these become undevelopable if this is connected to logos and exclusive to logos. So that a lot of research needs to happen yet on the ownership of, or the ability to develop this.
And that's where it really all hinges upon any type of further research and development on this. We need to find out if we have parking to the parcel. If there's no parking, there's no building.
Well, and we can research that ourselves relatively easily, and we should do that.
Yeah.
I think at our project committee meeting, we might have chatted about contacting Logos to see if they have a copy of that agreement so we can look at it to see how long-term it is. Because whether this property ultimately is developed by you or someone else, we're gonna have to resolve that issue.
That's correct. And before I can move forward and go to HARB, we have to know that before we can go any further than what we are, really.
Makes complete sense. I am going to suggest, unless I hear significant opposition, that we table this one for several reasons. One, 2 of our 5 members aren't here. Another very important reason is that's 5 contiguous parcels. And like the next agenda item, which is 10 contiguous parcels, we have a limited number of big tracts left in the city for development. So I personally, speaking only for myself, I like the idea that Mr. Bauer suggested, which is that we measure twice and cut once, speak to a realtor, potentially put it out there, potentially speak to an architect, find out what other uses or types of development might be suited for this property. So we've got the parking issue. 2 of our 5 members aren't here at the moment, and personally, and I know some of the board members agree with me, we're a little more hesitant to rush into an agreement on a property that could have lots of other uses. There's lots of single parcel lots in the city, which obviously wouldn't have the potential that something like this would. We understand from your perspective, the larger parcels are probably more attractive because you can get an economy of scale.
Well, they are and they aren't. The other thing of it is some of the parcels that you're talking about in the city aren't able to be built on. And we have looked at your extensive list of properties, and we've driven all around the city pretty much to each and every one of them. I think maybe we missed what, 4 or 5 maybe so far?
Well, you may have a more up-to-date analysis of them than we do. For the last 5-10 years, we've essentially been focusing on moving our buildings.
Sure.
And I think Belinda made an announcement maybe a month or 2 ago that other than Penn Market and some buildings we own and manage, all of our residential structures and commercial structures that we've been trying to sell are either sold or under contract for development. So we really haven't focused as extensively on the vacant lots in the last several years. We need to, because that's our inventory at this point. So we greatly appreciate your interest. We greatly appreciate what you've already done. You know, the single lot without utility connections in Beaver Street makes a whole lot of sense. You've proven that you're going to do a good job. But for item B, I'm going to suggest that either you withdraw your request or we table the motion and reconsider it later.
Well, I'd like to see it tabled if at all possible. That way at a future time, we might be able to revisit it and do something there.
And that's absolutely a possibility. We may find that this is like some of those single lots where there's just very few uses that are even permissible or practical, and obviously that would color our thinking. Do the other board
Yeah,
members
I
have
agree.
some
We need
thoughts?
to explore it more.
I absolutely agree. Do you need a motion to table? So I make a motion to table the consideration of an option agreement for 147 to 157 South Newberry.
Okay,
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by signifying nay. Hearing no nays, the motion to table the action item is approved. So let's go to item C, which is also a Von Rimmel action item, which is 10 parcels at 725 through 747 Court Street. And again, historically, Vaughn, it was not cost effective to build anything on a single lot in the city. So the city was, for years and years, nobody bought them. Perhaps to add a vacant lot to the residence, but certainly not to construct a home on. So only in the last couple of years have the economics changed such that it makes sense to build on a single lot. This is 10 contiguous lots. And other than Hope and Green, would this be our largest number of contiguous lots?
There's a cluster on Church, between, other than Hope and Green, but yeah, there's a cluster on Church as well, but this is, definitely the largest.
Well, according to codes also, and the size of the lots, you can't build 10 properties back on there. Well, I shouldn't say you couldn't, but for resale, it would be pretty much cost prohibitive, because anything over 3 connected lots, one of the problems you're gonna, well, maybe not a problem, but one of your expenses is going to be that they have to all be sprinklered then. So, yes, you could put a section of row homes in there if you wanted to, but they'd have to be sprinklered, and the expense of doing everything plus your fire protection in between each unit is going to take and put them out of the market for anything other than possibly a rental project. But what we're, doing is for resale, for people, again, to get into at a low cost for home ownership.
Well, and you've definitely proven yourself. I mean, you heard what Blanda said about when he and Michael Black went through your property in Cottage Hill. Everybody thought it was great. We need more affordable housing in the city. We're not opposed to this necessarily, but again, speaking for myself personally, we have very few large undeveloped tracts left. And if we approved your use and then found out 6 months later, oh gosh, we could have had a 2-story, 12-unit condominium built there with some parking, we might have seller's regret, right? Seller's remorse, that maybe we didn't think it through and evaluate what other options might exist. Historically, we didn't even have your option until affordable housing that you could build under the present economics made sense. But I think we just want to measure twice before we cut on this one as well. So it would be my personal suggestion that we table this one also, because it's really the exact same issues as Newberry.
Well, no, Newberry is quite a bit different here, I feel, than this one, because here there is no parking issue. Whereas Newberry, there is a parking issue.
Well, that's true, there's one less issue.
Yeah, I mean, here, there is plenty of space for parking in the rear of the property.
As evidenced by the current use.
Well, and the action items for 8 single-story duplexes, so.
Right, and that would give you your setbacks between each one of them.
So it would be 4 duplexes of 2 units each, is that what?
Correct.
Okay.
They look very similar to what it is on Cottage Hill.
Well, again, I'm not opposed to it, but I do think we would be best served to measure twice and cut once, talk to a real estate agent, talk to an architect, just to make sure there aren't any other uses or development possibilities we're not considering that we would want to know about before we convey this lot. So I think what we should be doing, Blanda, is settling upon maybe a residential agent and a potential, I don't know if an architect's the right person, but someone to come up with potential alternatives for the property.
I actually am working with an architect right now on another cluster of lots who's doing a sketch for me for the RDA to see what could fit there and what it could look like, and so we can get a good cost estimate.
Is that a local architect?
Joe Musso,
Okay.
looking at Church Avenue where there's a cluster of homes. See if we could build 6 double stacks or 12 12 apartments there, which of course would have to be sprinklered, but we're doing exactly what was talked about earlier, is envisioning these clusters and seeing what works.
And the ultimate result may be exactly what you're hoping for, which is your use is the best use that we can think of. I don't know that you're necessarily prejudiced because we've already voted to convey property North Beaver Street to you. So you can work on that one and we can have a little more time perhaps to do our homework on the parking issue over by Logos, as well as what kind of other uses we might be able to put on a 10 parcel contiguous property.
So you're saying after there's potential drawings, then he could still come forward?
Yes.
If that matches up with what the
Well,
architect?
if we're just tabling the motion
Yeah.
like we did the prior one, it's still up for
Okay.
consideration.
So relatively speaking, you might have a decision on what you're gonna do with this next year.
I would hope later this year, frankly. I mean,
Well, I'm just going on how, don't get me wrong, and I'm not trying to be smart with what I'm saying, but how the wheels turn, I think we all know government wheels turn a lot slower than what our wheels have to turn. And just going on that, aspect.
We'll be talking to a private realtor and a private architect, so those wheels are a little faster than government, but we should be able to get a proposal, I would think, we're in June, within a couple months, something intelligent for us to look at, but without a doubt, prior to the end of the calendar year, I think that would be a reasonable goal for us to make a decision. Do we want to list it with the realtor and try to attract people for some yet determined use that we think might be better for that parcel, or do we not list it with the realtor because the final conclusion is what you're proposing is the best we're gonna get? But again, we only get one chance at this, and we don't want to hastily convey something without thinking of the alternatives. And my apologies to you, but for the past 5 or so years, we didn't really focus on the vacant property as much. But now that we've gone through all of our building inventory, this is a good time for us to refocus and think intelligently as to what our plans are for the city properties. I can tell you, if there are other single lots in the city or double lots in the city that work for your use, I would imagine that would be a much quicker response from us. If you're looking for properties you want to start working on immediately in addition to the one we approved tonight.
Well, we did give him 2 applications already today for 2 other properties that we looked at here in the last couple of days. So like I said, we have looked at almost all of the properties that you have on your list. Some of them that are on the list, we're not quite sure. You say that you own them, but somebody else has a sign on them saying that they own them. So that's something I need to take up with.
Oh, yeah, you left me a voicemail about that. Those are the Dentsply lots. Yeah, so they are owned by us. We bought them from Dentsply. We just didn't take the Dentsply signs down.
Okay.
And that's part of a bigger vision as well, connecting in with what's happening at Hope Avenue, and if that can be replicated in the design to flow out of that neighborhood into the College Avenue, that's where we actually do have somewhat of a vision.
Okay, so those lots are pretty much off limits too, more or less.
That's the board's call, but
Just say yes.
we're trying to see how that big project goes there and how that can connect on, and if there's already a design that we can match that design and replicate it, and make it ooze out of one large area into a larger area. But I don't know that it's necessarily off the table.
Well, imagine if we convey off a couple of those parcels and then one of our tenants for one of the big buildings says, wow, I would move in there and sign a long-term lease or buy it, but I need 20 more parking spaces. And we just conveyed off our lots across the street. So, the big project is driving this, and we have to wait until that is crystallized.
Yeah, pretty much the exact same thing on Newbury Street,
Perhaps.
because Logos was given those lots for parking there.
I don't know how they got them. I haven't seen the agreement, but it was
Yeah,
either.
that was before my time too.
It's either a permanent lease, a short, or a lease with a defined term that ends, which I'm hoping it has, but I have no idea what the arrangement is. And obviously, it's important.
Yeah. All right.
And you said you had applied for 2 today. Are those like single lots or double lots?
There's a 2 lots on Howard Street, and there are 3 or 4 lots on Northwest Street. 3.
Yeah, I appreciate all of your work in the packets and getting all of this information together. I wish we would have done this, flipped it, so we hadn't had you present and go through all of this work, but I think it puts us in a good position to see what is out there and then.
Well, I'm just, with doing the work like this here, I hope you understand that we are serious and we are good at what we do. And I'm just trying to present a very good package to you so that you don't have any questions on our ability to do what we say we can do.
I appreciate that, thank you.
All right, any other further questions or comments for Mr. Rimmel? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I have Josh a question. Are these manufactured homes?
No.
No.
Why, you want to start doing them now?
No.
Just picking.
Oh, I have a home building company. I don't want to build houses. I build houses in 4 states right now.
Okay, hearing no further questions or comments, I will, okay,
So,
I'll ask for a motion to table action item C.
thank you, I thought you were D. I will make a motion to table considering entering an option agreement with Von Reimel for due diligence and exploration of the construction of 8 single-story duplexes, 4 units on 10 parcels at 725 to 748 South Court Street.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing no nays, the motion unanimously carries. This takes us to the final action item, which is E.
No, D.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I skip? D, redevelopment agreement. Okay, so this is an agreement with Keo Porter for the purchase.
Yeah, my apologies. It's actually Keon. My finger is hurt, so I missed the N.
Okay.
So it's Keon Porter.
For the purchase and redevelopment of 352 North Newberry Street for the construction of a new duplex. You would purchase the lot for $5,000.
Correct. And we had previously had an option agreement on this house that we voted for with, and I'm sorry, the name's escaping me now. It was a women's group home that was going to build new there. They did not execute the option agreement. So we have, like I said, we have considered selling this before. Mr. Porter has sent me ideas of what he would like to see built there. So I can pull that up here quickly. This is his vision of what he would like to build. He has a budget of $160,000, or a proposed budget of $160,000. It looks like it is a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. Yes, 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath house like that would sit on that parcel. The one caveat to this lot is that it is not this entire corner parcel, and there is an area here behind it that is actually part of Farquhar Park. And he's aware of this, and I suggested to him that perhaps as he develops his home, maybe the city might be interested in partnering with him to create some parking for the park, like a gravel parking area or something like that, that would benefit both the city for people going to the park and him or his residents that would live here. That's very preliminary right now, but
Or
just,
they could give him like an easement and a license to use it and record it, so that he would be responsible for maintaining it.
Correct.
He could use it, but he couldn't adversely possess it.
that's what my thought is, but I haven't approached the city yet at all about that. The lot itself, the RDA acquired at the, it was on the repository list, so no one had bought it in the past. It's overgrown along the edge, but it's actually, as I come down along the front, you can see that there used to be a house there, because there are steps and a fire hydrant, and his plan is to build it right up here on the corner.
It's Chief Buffington's dream.
I know, it is Buffington's dream location, but maybe he can sell it to him.
Chief Buffington talks about building a house there as a retirement home, so.
He actually wanted Von Reimel to build him a retirement home on this lot.
Yeah, park front property.
Yeah, it is a great lot. It's an absolutely great lot. But
Well, it's
BCO Buffington hasn't applied to buy this lot yet either, so.
It's great seeing all these lots that have been languishing for decades actually get built upon. And this is another one. So Keon Porter,
It's for sale too, right?
he's gonna build a duplex.
But they're all for sale, right?
Well, they're not listed with realtors, but.
No, I mean, but his intention is to build it and sell it to a
Yes.
homeowner.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a cool lot.
Yeah, it's not just for rent product in the city.
Correct.
Right.
For sale product.
Bringing revenue to the
And
city.
it's, so this
It's
is
like what Vaughn's doing.
Yeah.
Obviously, that slightly different looking finished product.
it takes all types.
All right, any other thoughts or questions regarding 352 North Newberry?
Actually, just a clarification on that. Mr. Porter on this lot says that he wants to work with Bell Next Door program because they are very short on properties. So these would likely be rentals that he would work with Bell to fill.
What does that mean? For the residents?
Yeah.
So would not be homeowner?
Correct. It sounds like he's building it for a rental.
Okay.
What are doing the tax rolls?
Sure. Still be on the tax rolls.
Okay.
I just wanted to be clear on that.
Any other questions or comments? Do we have a motion to approve entering an agreement with Keon Porter for the purchase and redevelopment of 352 North Newberry Street into construction of a new duplex, and the sale of the lot would be $5,000?
Sorry, yes, I can make a motion.
Okay, and Beard has made such a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, I will ask, call the vote. I will ask all those in favor to signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed signify by saying nay. Since there are no nays, the action item passes unanimously. So now we are at our final action item, which is the modification of a covenant to modify the existing deed restriction on parcels located at 1 North George Street to change the dates of required completion from 36 months from the date of this deed, September 8, 25, to 48 months from the date of this deed. So if I read that correctly, Belanda, is that basically giving the purchaser of the property an additional 12 months?
No, this is the original deed, and I have it up here on the screen, was, this is a property, this is the bank on the square. It was sold to 1 North George LLC, Mr. Teachout from Asheville. He did interior demolition and prepped the project. And then Asheville got flooded out. He relocated his whole business, spent a lot of money moving out of Asheville, and he now moved his entire business to Knoxville, Tennessee. So he has put this building up for sale and has a buyer. But all of our properties that we sell have these restrictive covenants. There are a total of 11 of them that are required by urban redevelopment law that have to be part of the deed. They have asked, because the current deed, we sold this September 8th of 2022, and we had a time completion of, and I believe it's in your packet, they start within 12 months, which he did, but it has grantee shall complete construction pursuant to the plans, all spaces within the ground level in 36 months from the date of this deed, which would be actually this September 8th to be completed. The new owner obviously can't get that done today since it's July or June. He is asking for 3 years of design work and 2 years of construction work from the date of his purchase. And my suggestion is that he can go a lot quicker than 60 months, and I've bumped it down to 48 months to be able to, and that's from his purchase from One North George LLC, which may happen next month.
So he's gonna get a new deed at settlement.
He'll get a new deed with new covenants with,
Incorporate all the covenants with the date saying you now have 48 months from the date of whatever the closing date is, say tomorrow, to do all that work.
correct.
So where you say 48 months from the date of his deed,
It would be his new deed,
I mean, yeah, just rephrase that a little. Okay.
yeah. And the other covenants that are in there is non-discrimination, getting zoning approval, code approvals, paying permit fees. There is a bonding requirement if it's over a $10 million project, and that's required, or over $1 million project, and that's required under Pennsylvania urban redevelopment law because the RDA sold it. And again, without power to sell, without consent of us. So we actually have to consent to the sale, and they've asked us to change the time frame. Again, their request was, and I believe the letter is in your packet also. The request there was for 3 years of design and 2 years of construction. The plan is to make it into a 20-room limited service boutique hotel on part of the building, and then a restaurant space on the larger part of the building.
36 months was good enough for the first guy. Why isn't it good enough for this guy?
Yeah, especially if it's gutted already.
Yeah.
That was gonna be my question.
I think, personally, I think 3 years of design, engineering, and approvals is a long time.
Yeah, it's extensive.
And then the additional 2 of construction, I can believe. I mean, I haven't heard any pushback on the 48. I told the realtor this morning, I bumped it from 60 to 48. I don't see if there's any issue of going even less. I have no issue whatsoever with that.
And it's in the square, like.
It is,
Let's
yeah,
roll.
I hate to see it sit there
Sorry.
that long as well. Like, 3 years was a long time when we did the deal in 2018.
Right.
Or whenever we did it, 22. So that's at the board's discretion.
And I'm going to abstain because I represent Gilliland.
Okay, fair.
It's all on you, Hannah.
So can we still vote on it if it's just me and Joyce? Okay,
Yeah, the quorum 3 allows us to convene and vote.
Okay.
And we only need a majority of the 3.
okay, thank you. Okay, so if I'm, how do we do this?
You can make a motion to agree to the modification as presented, 48 months, or you can make a motion to go a different number.
Yeah, I mean, mine would be to go keep the 36. Do you want me to just make that motion and Joyce, whatever you do? Is that fair? Bear with me here.
If you get
Okay.
a second, that's
Thank you for all sticking around for this. It's fine, okay. All right, so am I. All right, so I will make a motion to not modify,
agree to the modification, modified to be
Okay.
36 months.
agree to the modification. Wait, say that again, sorry.
You're making a motion to agree to the requested modification, but reduced to 36 months.
Okay,
That could be your motion.
making a motion to, oh my God, I can't, listen, I'm 8 months pregnant, I can't, I'm sweating,
Her motion
I'm
is-
nervous. Can you just do it for me?
She's delegating me as a proxy. Your motion is to grant the modification reduced to 36 months.
Okay, yes,
So we have a second.
what John said, thank you.
But then, is it really a modification then?
That's what I was just gonna ask too, but
Yeah,
we are approving the sale as well with this motion. So
I'm just listening, to-
per the covenant, we
The
are,
new date, okay, okay,
yeah.
okay, because it's a new date.
okay.
So, does everybody understand the motion?
So
I understand, yeah,
you're
go ahead,
saying
Joyce.
36 months from the date of transfer.
Date of the new deed.
Right, okay, so the
There you
new
go.
deed, we don't need 48 months is what I'm saying, we can just keep it at 36.
Correct.
So is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Motion?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Sorry,
second, some version of that.
Sorry,
I'll get it in
Joyce.
the minutes, I have to write them, so.
He has to write it
Made me
anyway.
sound good, John.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. I abstain, Belinda. The motion carries 2 votes to 0.
You think that's gonna change any minds or just, okay?
No.
Staff report is next.
I will kind of skip over my staff report. I wanted to give you an update on Penn Market, but
This is the whole moment I've been waiting for.
Penn Market is 99% design. I'm reviewing the front end specs. They're scheduling to go to Harb. Council's on vacation, so they only meet once a month, so it might not meet until the August council meeting. Once that's done, we're ready to go hit the street to put it out to bid. And we are working on funding. There's an additional RACP project for the Northwest Triangle that I believe is not going to be used, that we can take some of that RACP money and bring it over to Penn Market. Unfortunately, more RACP means we need more match. So there's the sweet spot of getting just the right amount of RACP to come over to reduce the amount of match that we need. Regardless, we still need additional funding. We continue to look for sources. Hopefully we can, historic tax credit seems like a great idea. So we're going to start working down that path to see if we can get historic tax credits to close the gap. It's going to be a beautiful project. Sorry, I just caught myself saying big, beautiful project.
I thought of that too. Say it like that.
It really is, it's an exciting project and much needed. And we just need to get the support of the community behind it.
Gotta give these guys some trash service, man.
And some trash service. Other than that, I can report on Densply. We did meet with DEP out there on this Monday. DEP had some questions on the report that the first initial phase was submitted. Turns out there were some TCE that was used in the past in the building, which is trichlorinated ethylene, which has a way of seeping through concrete floors. So they want us to do a soil vapor sample under the concrete floors as well, just to verify that the TCE is no longer there, even though those buildings that it was stored in are going to be demolished. So we're working through step by step with DEP. We're down to about 45 days to reply back to them with a new plan or an updated thing to address the TCE, but everything else they are in favor of. The developer is chomping at the bit to move forward, done some interior demolition, drop ceilings and things like that can be removed easily. They have apparently an agreement for the 62 townhomes from a townhome builder based out of Maryland, who's going to start building the new townhomes. And the first phase will likely be the self-storage unit is teed up and ready to build that portion as well. So everything is moving right along pretty well. And we submitted the final questions. We got a second round of questions on a grant from DCED, which is a pilot program called the Mixed Use Housing Development, where they want old factories to be made into mixed use development. And we applied for $1.52 million, and they came back and asked us for more information. So that's a good sign. However, there's only $10 million available statewide, so I don't know if we're going to get 1.5 million, but we are shortlisted for the first ever in the state to receive this grant, which is
We're gonna up that
good.
program.
And they are upping that program in the budget next year to be able to read, this is the first year to prove that there are 382 projects statewide that need this type of money and that they need to do funding for next year. So it's a nice feather in our cap to be able to be one of the first as the case study of why this should happen. So hopefully we'll hear something in the next week or two about that. And that's about all I have for updates.
I have a question about your updates. So I didn't realize I'm giving up some RACP money. Sounds like that has some value to the RDA.
It does, if you, I've offered it to you. I've offered it to you.
Table that.
I'll buy you drinks at Grand Fluence in 10 minutes.
That sounds good too.
I won't put that in
I
there.
take various forms of payment, steak.
I know about the sticks. That's the key to your heart, though.
Burger and easy. So the chairman,
Chairman report.
The interim ad hoc chairman has no report. Does anyone else have anything else with good of the order? Nate? I like you, but you talk too much. We're adjourned.
Wait, we need a motion to adjourn,
Oh,
don't we?
No.
We don't do motions?
Frank said.
So as an attorney, I will tell you, I am on 9 boards right now.
Yeah?
Many have